Have you ever wondered that what destroys us isn't the great storms, but the small winds we never pay attention to? That a crack no bigger than a fingertip can bring down an entire life? And sometimes, what cost us everything begins in that quiet moment when we say, "It's just a small thing. I'll fix it tomorrow." There once lived a man like that, a farmer named Ethan. He lived in a peaceful little village where endless green fields stretched out like a carpet under the golden sunlight. Each morning, the bleating of goats echoed through the valley, mingling with the scent of freshly cut grass, a symphony of simple, hopeful life. Ethan owned about a dozen goats. They were his entire wealth, his pride, the source of his milk, food, and income. The villagers admired him. They often said with a smile, "Ethan, you're a lucky man. Your goats are strong, your land is fertile. You'll never know the taste of hunger." Ethan would smile gently, and perhaps deep down, he believed it too. But hidden beneath that calm exterior was a dangerous flaw: his laziness and complacency. One afternoon, while walking along the fence that circled his field, Ethan noticed a small crack in one of the wooden planks. Just a tiny gap, barely wide enough for a curious goat to poke its head through. His wife noticed it too. She pointed and said, "Ethan, you should fix that. If you don't, the goats might slip out." Ethan yawned, stretched his arms, and replied with a lazy smile, "It's just a small crack, my dear. Nothing to worry about. I'll fix it tomorrow." But that tomorrow never came. A few days later, the gap grew wider. One plank began to loosen. The goats, passing by, would stop and peek through, nudging the fence playfully as if it were a game. One of Ethan's friends came to visit. He looked at the fence and warned gently, "Ethan, if you don't fix that soon, one day your goats will all be gone." But Ethan only shrugged, his voice calm and careless. "Why worry about something so small? Nay, I have more important things to do." And so instead of fixing the fence, Ethan chose the easy way. He would lie beneath the shade of an old oak tree, chewing on sugarcane, sometimes dozing off in the lazy wind of the afternoon. Some days, he wandered to the village square, chatting idly about nothing that truly mattered. Each day, the fence grew weaker, and each day, Ethan whispered the same comforting lie to himself, "It's just a small thing, not worth worrying about." But life always has its own way of teaching lessons, especially when we least expect them. As the days passed, the wooden planks weakened, and so did Ethan's awareness. That same sentence, "It's nothing, it's small," became a soft blanket covering the truth. His carelessness was quietly eating away everything he had built. Then one night, the sky turned gray and heavy. The wind began to roar through the trees, the first breath of a coming storm, as if nature itself had come to remind Ethan of the warning he kept ignoring. The storm hit with fury. Winds howled across the fields, thunder cracked like a hammer striking the earth, and rain poured down in relentless sheets, soaking the ground and beating against the goat's pen. The frightened animals huddled together, trembling. That fragile fence, the one Ethan had always dismissed, began to shudder and groan, the old wood creaking like a dying sigh. Then came a single push. From one goat, and a plank gave way. One escaped, then another, and another until all were gone, vanishing into the black curtain of rain. The next morning, as dawn broke, Ethan stepped outside, stretching as usual, ready to milk his goats. But after just a few steps, he froze. The world around him was silent, unnaturally still. The pen stood empty, not a sound, not a single bleat. Panic rose in his chest. He called out, voice cracking with desperation, "Lai! Shambu! Moti!" The names of his beloved goats, as if calling old friends who might still return. But there was no answer, only the wind whispering through the broken fence, mocking him, reminding him of that tiny crack he once thought didn't matter. In the days that followed, Ethan's life completely fell apart. With no goats, he had no milk. No milk meant no food, no income. The man who once had plenty was now left with nothing, all because he ignored something so small. Each morning, Ethan would wake up and look across the empty yard. And somehow, his heart felt just as empty. A single crack, just one small crack, had cost him everything. Without milk, he had no money. Without money, he couldn't buy seeds to plant his crops. The same neighbors who once praised him now shook their heads and whispered, "Ethan was careless. He destroyed his own fortune." Hungry and exhausted, Ethan sank to the ground beside the broken fence. His rough, calloused hands covered his face as the wind whispered through the hollow planks. In a trembling voice, he murmured, "If only I had fixed it when it was small." Weeks passed. Then one gray, somber morning, a wise old man from the village came to visit. He stopped before the shattered fence, studied it for a long moment, and finally he asked, "Ethan, do you know what truly destroyed you?" Ethan lowered his head and replied quietly, "Yes, my goats ran away." The old man shook his head slowly, his eyes kind yet piercing with truth. "No, Ethan, your goats didn't destroy you. Your attitude did. You believed small problems didn't matter, but it was that very belief that brought your life to ruin." He paused, his voice deep and steady as it echoed through the still morning air. "Remember this for the rest of your life, Ethan. The small problems you ignore today will become tomorrow's disasters." Ethan stood silently, unable to speak. His eyes filled with shame, and something deeper, regret. That night, lying on his old wooden bed, he couldn't sleep. He listened to the wind slip through the cracks of his walls, and every gust carried back the words of the old man, along with the haunting sounds of the storm, the creaking fence, and the frightened cries of his goats. Every warning from his wife, every moment he could have acted but didn't, replayed in his mind like a blade twisting slowly in his heart. And for the first time in his life, Ethan made a promise to himself. From this day forward, I will never ignore the small cracks in my life again. As time passed, months went by. With calloused hands and an unshakable patience, Ethan began to rebuild his life from the ruins. He worked harder than he ever had before. With the help of kind villagers, he managed to buy a few goats again, repair his broken fence, and slowly rebuild his hope. This time, he never took the small things for granted. Every morning, as the first light of dawn broke over the treetops, Ethan would walk along the fence line, checking every plank, every nail, every tiny crack. He would run his fingers across the wood, as if listening to the heartbeat of his own life. Before eating, before resting, before doing anything at all, his first ritual each day was always the same. Check the fence. One day, an old neighbor came by and saw Ethan inspecting the fence with quiet precision. Smiling, the man asked, "Ethan, why are you so careful these days?" Ethan looked at the strong, sturdy fence before him and smiled softly. "Because I've learned a costly lesson," he said. "It's the small things that protect the big things." My friend, Ethan's story isn't just about a farmer or a fence. It's about you and me, about all of us. Each of us has our own broken fences in life, a small lie we keep telling, a bad habit we know is harmful but refuse to change, a health warning we choose to ignore, thinking, "I'll be fine," or a relationship we once cherished, but no longer have the patience to mend. At first, these cracks seem harmless, tiny, insignificant, but little by little, they begin to eat away at us, until one day, everything collapses, and we're left wondering how it all fell apart. Because success never crumbles overnight. It erodes slowly, through the small cracks we never bothered to fix. So today, ask yourself, which fence in my life is starting to crack? What small problem am I choosing to ignore? For if you don't repair it now, one day, when it's too late, one day you'll find yourself whispering the same words Ethan once did, "If only I had fixed it when it was small." Don't wait until the goats in your life are gone. Don't wait for the storm to come and teach you the lesson the easy days tried to tell you. Act today. Fix the fence. Change the habit. Heal the relationship. Work on your weaknesses. Because life only rewards those who take action before the storm arrives. And if there's just one truth you remember from Ethan's story, let it be this. Great lives are built by repairing small cracks before they turn into great breaks. If this story made you pause and think, take a moment to ask yourself, which fence in my life needs fixing today? Don't let the little things of today grow into the losses of tomorrow. Because happiness, peace, and success always begin with the small steps you choose to take right now. If you believe that small changes can create great transformations, leave a like to share this message with others. Comment below, I will fix the fence in my life today. And don't forget to subscribe to DOLA Tales, where every story is a mirror that helps you see your own life more clearly.